Hey guys, we're going to learn how to simplify radicals first. The first step is you make a factor tree, then you circle any doubles or triplets or whatever of all the primes, depending if it's a square root or cube root, etc. Then you pull one outside of the radical for each double or triplet, etc. And then you leave the leftovers on the inside. Then you simplify. So if you look at number 1, the square root of 4, you probably already know that that is 2. And the reason that it is 2 is because 2 times 2 equals 4, and that's a double. Now we might have a problem like number 2, square root of 8. That's not a nice square root, and so decimals are not acceptable in this unit. So what we do is make a factor tree. So I put a branch off of 8, and I try to figure out the first prime number that goes into it. So I start with 2. 2 goes into it 4 times. So I circle 2 because it's prime. 4 is not, so I do it again. 2 goes into 4 2 times. So then step 2, I circle any doubles. So they have a double right there, and that goes on the outside of a radical. And then anything left over goes on the inside. So this 2 is left over, so it goes on the inside. That's my final answer. All right, for number 3, I'm going to make a tree off of 32. 2 goes into 32 16 times. 2 goes into 16 8 times. 2 goes into 8 4 times. 2 goes into 4 2 times. If 2 wouldn't go into it, then you would try 3. If 3 didn't go into it, you go to the next prime number, which is 5, then 7, then 11, so on. So now I'm going to circle, oh, first of all, I need to write out all my x's for this x cubed, so I write out 3 x's. So I circle double, so I got a double here, I've got a double here, and I've got a double x. So I have to first use that 2 that was originally on the outside. That's going to continue to be on the outside. And then I'm going to bring out 1 2 for that double and 1 2 for that double. And I'm going to bring out an x for that double. Alright, now I put my leftovers in the inside, so I had a 2 left over here and I had an x left over here. So then I'm just going to make it look a little prettier. I'm going to multiply these 2's together and get 8. And that's my final answer. Number 4 looks really similar to 3, except now it is a cube root. So I'm just going to recopy the tree from number 3. But this time I'm going to circle triplets because of this 3 right here means I have to circle triplets. Okay, so I have the original 5 that's on the outside. So that stays on the outside, and then I have this triplet 2, only 1 again for the triplet, and only 1 x for that triplet. So then I keep my cube root there, and my leftovers, I have 2 2's left over, and that is it. So on the outside, to just clean it up a bit, that's going to be 10x, it's cube root, and that's going to be 4. That's your final answer for that one. Next, we're going to learn how to multiply. So it's pretty similar to simplifying, but the first thing you do first is you multiply outsides and insides. And that means the outside of the radical and inside of the radical. And you only multiply the insides if they have the same index. What an index is, that's the square root, cube root. So the index is the number that lives right there. Then you factor tree and simplify just like before. So for number 5, there's only a 3 on the outside, so I'm going to keep that on the outside. But I'm going to multiply the 2 insides together. So 2y times 4y is 8y squared. Then I'm going to break it down like I did the other ones. So 2 and 4, 2 and 2. And I have y squared. So I'm going to pull out my doubles. So I have a double 2 and a double y. I have this 3 that was originally on the outside. And then I'm going to pull out 1 for each double. So I have 1 2 and 1 y. Left over, I have a 2 right here. So to just clean it up a bit, I have 6y on the outside, square root of 2 on the inside. The next one is cube root, but they're both cube roots, so you can multiply them together. There's no outside, so I'm just going to multiply the insides. It's 12y x to the 4th. So I'm going to break it down. 2 goes into it 6 times. 2 goes into that 3 times. Y, and I have 4 x's. So I have a double 2, or actually no, I'm sorry, I already messed it up. It's supposed to be a triplet. So there are no triplets within my numbers, but there are a triplet x right here. So that's the only thing that's going to come on the outside. And then since there were no triplets within the number, that means it just stays as 12. And that y was a leftover, and that x was a leftover. So that's my final answer for that one. All right, the next one. So this one has something in parentheses and then a square on the outside. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write it out 2 times. And this is the 4th root this time. So that's the parenthesis, but I'm just going to repeat it because of that squared right there. So I'm going to multiply the outsides together. That's 4x squared. I'm going to multiply the insides together. That's 36x to the 4th. Remember that you have to add the exponents. So I'm going to make my tree for 36. I'm going to do it off to the side because I'm running out of room. So 36, 2 goes into it, and 2 goes into it 18 times. 2 goes in 18 9 times. 2 doesn't go into 9, but 3 does 3 times. All right, then x to the 4th. Now this time, since the index is 4, I'm pulling out groups of 4. There's a group of 4 x's, but there are no groups of 4 within the numbers. So that means that I have my original outside, which is 4x squared, and I'm going to multiply it by my group of 4 x's. And then on the inside, since 36 didn't have any groups of 4, I'm going to keep it as 36. And there was nothing else left over. So just to clean it up a bit, it will be 4x to the 3rd and 36 inside of the parentheses. All right, the last section is just something unrelated. It's something that you'll see in the SOL a lot. And so the directions will say write in fraction or exponential form. So what this means is that you take the variable or the number that's inside the radical and you bring it outside the radical, and you put whatever the number on the inside is on the top of a fraction, and you put the index, the number on the outside, on the bottom, and that's the answer. So it's nothing terribly hard, it's just something you have to remember. So for number 9, this one's a little bit different just because it has the 2, the exponent on the outside, but you're still going to put the exponent on the top, and the root, the number next to the radical, is going to go on the bottom. This one you can simplify. 2 over 6 simplifies to 1/3. All right, the last one has multiple things underneath the radical, so I have to do a fraction for 6, x, and y. So the exponent of 6 is 1, so that's going to be 1 over 10, because 10 is the number on the outside. The x, it's 4 over 10. And the last one is 8 over 10. But we need to simplify if we can, so the 1 over 10 can't simplify. That one can simplify to 2/5. This one can simplify to 4/5. That's my final answer. Now we're going to go the other way. So if it says write in radical form, I make myself a radical. I put the variable or number inside. The top number is the exponent of the variable. The bottom number is the root. Okay, and then this last one has 2 things. So I make myself a radical. I put the x and the y inside. The problem with this is they don't have the same denominator. So what you have to do before that is go off to the side, and we're going to make this have a 6 on the bottom. So to get that to have a 6, you've got to multiply by 2 on top and bottom. So that's going to give you 2 over 6. So that means 6 will be the root, and x will have 2 up top, and y will have 5 up top.